The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Sunday, April 7, 2024, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Saturday, April 6, 2024 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentations of petitions, messages from the Assembly. Secretary will read.
Senator Kruger moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules, Assembly Bill number 97.
Senator Gineris. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Reports of select committees. Communication reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Gineris.
Madam President, let's immediately call a meeting of the Rules Committee, room 332, and stand at ease, please.
There's an immediate call of the Rules Committee in room 332. The Senate will stand at ease. The Senate will return to order. Senator Gineris.
At the desk, can we take that up at this time?
The Secretary will read.
Senator Stuart Cousins from the Committee on Rules reports the following bill. Senate Print 8986 by Senator Kruger, an act making appropriations for the support of government. Bill reports direct to third reading.
Move to accept the report of the Rules Committee.
All those in favor of accepting the Rules Committee report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The Rules Committee report is accepted. Senator Gineris.
Please take up the supplemental calendar.
Secretary will read. There's a substitution at the desk. Secretary will read.
Senator Kruger from the Committee on Rules reports the following bill. Assembly Bill number 9771 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 8986, third reading calendar 771.
Is there a message of necessity and appropriation at the desk?
There is a message at the desk.
Move to accept the message.
All those in favor of accepting the message of necessity signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The message is accepted. Senator Gineris.
Lay it aside.
Laid aside.
Can we take up the controversial calendar, please?
Secretary will ring the bell. The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 771, Assembly number 9771 by Assembly Member Weinstein, an act making appropriations for the support of government.
Senator Morrow, why do you rise?
Madam President, if Senator Kruger or whoever she designates would answer a few questions on this extender.
Senator Kruger, do you yield?
I do, and designate myself, yes.
The Senator yields.
Thank you. Senator, here we are officially 1 week late on the budget now. We're doing a third extender bill at this point, and this bill gets us through the end of Thursday, is my reading of it. Can you let us know at what point, if the budget isn't put together by the end of Thursday, what's the next step for another extender on this? When will that have to be enacted, and how long would that extender last for?
Madam President, through you, this extender technically goes through Thursday, but it actually covers payroll for state workers through next Tuesday. So it's sort of a two-parter, but the assumption is that we would need to do another extender Thursday or Friday because there are other sections in this that, no, let me rephrase that. There are other things that may be sunsetting in the state budget that we might need to address before next week. So we're still seeing when the next extender might be given to us by the governor and how long that will go. So it's possible there will be a new extender Thursday. It's possible it might not get voted on till Friday. It's even possible we will be told that we're okay till next Monday. So we're waiting to see. It does seem a little confusing. But we are getting closer to the possibility of budget bills. I know I've said that before, but I feel like we are getting closer. If our leader has a way of describing things as we're close to the middle, we're at the beginning of the beginning. I think if she was on the floor now, she might say, we're towards the end, heading towards the end. So it's possible that there will be one more extender, and it's even possible, no, I'd say it's very likely we have at least one more extender.
Thank you, Senator. Madam President, Senator Krueger will continue to yield.
Does the senator yield?
Yes.
The senator yields.
So whether we're at the end of the middle or the beginning of the end, we do have an eclipse this afternoon, and I don't think that's the end. But we're certainly used to doing things in the dark around here, so you know, we could work through it. But can you just give us maybe, since we're getting toward the end, what the hang-ups are, I guess? What are the major issues that are out there that are really subject to final negotiation amongst the leaders?
So I think there's some of the biggest issues that there still needs to be resolution on. And those are the issues we talk about every year in the budget. They're the biggest budget items. Their education, their housing, their health care. So we're moving forward, but we're not there yet. I believe that there will be an opportunity for the tables to start working again soon, which I know people have also been asking about. And yet, just for the record, here in the state of New York and the Senate, the extenders we are doing guarantee us that the money needed by every program we run, every local community that counts on state money, that expects money to be flowing through the controller's office, all continues to happen. Right now, the only thing that's happening because we are delayed in completing our budget is the payroll of the 63 members of the Senate and the 150 members of the Assembly. Everyone else is getting paid. All the other bills are getting paid. We finished the debt bill, so we are paying our debts, and government continues to function as it should be every day that we still have not yet completed the new budget.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Krueger would continue to yield.
Does the senator yield?
Yes.
The senator yields.
Senator, you mentioned health care as one of the major issues. There was a report in Newsday over the weekend, I believe, that the Medicaid managed care proposal of seeking an extra $4 billion in federal funding towards that was dead. Is that the case? Or is there still negotiations on that?
I do not believe that is a correct analysis.
Through you, Madam President, the Senator will continue to yield.
Does the senator yield?
Yes.
Senator yields.
Housing has certainly been a major topic in this year's budget, as it was last year, and nothing got achieved last year. I've heard general reports that there's general understandings on housing. Can you tell us more specifically what the hang-ups are on the housing issues?
No, unfortunately, that is beyond my role here on the floor today. I think we all agree that we have serious issues with the shortage of affordable housing throughout the state of New York. We are trying to come to an agreement on what to be doing about that. I think many of us agree there are serious issues for protections of tenants in their homes. We're trying to come to an agreement on that. There are many discussions about how to protect existing housing stock that may be getting older and need assistance, as well as the development of new housing. And there are very different needs in upstate New York and urban versus rural versus suburban New York. So there's no one answer, and there's certainly no one magic bullet out there, but we are actually trying to take into consideration all these different issues and produce a package that both houses and the governor can agree upon, vote upon, and get moving on.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Madam President. That's all I have.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Rollison.
On the bill, Madam President,
Senator Rollison on the bill.
I see in the extender there's $51 million dedicated to the Mass Transportation Trust Fund. And I want to just expand a little bit upon that as it relates to the Hudson Valley and my district. We have the worst conditions of roads and bridges in the state. This has taken place over a period of about 10 years of just systematic disinvestment in our region. And in 2022, the DOT reported that only 43% of Hudson Valley roads were rated good or excellent. The statewide average is 58%. So that's a big difference between what's happening elsewhere and what's happening in the Hudson Valley. Hudson Valley also has the most lane miles and bridges of any DOT region in the state, yet gets approximately, on average, the third highest amount in the state. This is endangering drivers who use our state highways every single day. You know, if you ask anybody in my district about Route 211 in Orange County or Route 9, which runs essentially from the top of Dutchess County all the way down to New York City, or you talk about Route 22 on the east end, very similar state highway. You know, we just had an earthquake that many of us obviously in this chamber felt, but I would dare say that most people who are driving these highways are less worried about the aftershocks other than the potholes and the craters that are causing blowouts and alignment problems that can cost thousands of dollars. And I know that earlier in March, the legislative leadership and the executive found about $1.35 billion extra to spend within the budget in the context of the negotiations. So I'm hoping that we're going to be dedicating the appropriate funding in this budget to address these inadequacies in our state highway system, because I know everyone in this chamber has similar issues, and potholes and craters and issues with the safety of our state highways isn't partisan. It's really just about fixing the roads and getting it done, and hopefully getting it done in this budget. But Madam President, I will be voting aye on the extender. Thank you.
Senator Harkam.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I rise to, first of all, agree with my colleague on the conditions of roads in the lower Hudson Valley. I would also just say that in our one-house budget, we advocated for $400 million extra in the DOT capital plan that is being negotiated right now. We also, in our one-house budget, put in an extra $100 million for Region 8, which is a region that we've just heard described. And for the record, I would like to say we got no votes from the other side on that. So I'll be voting aye. Thank you, Madam President.
Are there any other senators wishing to be heard? Seeing and hearing none, the debate is closed. Secretary will read the bill. Senator Gineris.
Madam President, we've agreed to restore this bill to the non-controversial calendar.
The bill will be restored to the non-controversial calendar. Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 50.
The bill is passed. Senator Gineris.
Returning now to motions and resolutions. On behalf of Senator Parker, on page 10, for the following amendments to calendar 292, Senate 1203A, and ask that said bill retain its place on the third reading calendar.
The amendments are received and the bill will retain its place in the third reading calendar. Senator Gineris.
On behalf of you, Madam President, I wish to call up Senate Print 2376A, recalled from the Assembly, which is now at the desk.
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 731, Senate Print 2376A by Senator Passard, enactment of the penal law.
The vote by which the bill was passed.
The Secretary will call the roll on reconsideration.
Dabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White. Ayes 50.
The bill is restored to its place in the third reading calendar.
I offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received.
Can we now take up previously adopted Resolution 1732 by Senator Chu? Read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Chu.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1732 by Senator Chu, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim April 7th through 13th, 2024 as Library Week in the state of New York.
Senator Chu on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to speak on this important resolution. As a chair for Libraries Committee, this week, happy to announce this week marks the start of National Library Week, which recognizes and celebrates the work our libraries and librarians provide our constituents every day. Libraries are a treasured part of our society that provide valuable and free resources which benefit everyone, and especially for those most vulnerable populations throughout New York State, including our students, immigrant communities, families, and our aging adults. This year, the theme is Ready, Set, Library, which promotes online connection with others through your local library. It is important to recognize the extraordinary efforts that our libraries, which provide a multitude of educational services beyond checking out books. I'm proud of the work this body has done to ensure libraries are provided with the essential materials they need to be a successful resource to New York's communities. However, it is still far from enough. As we enter the final days of our budget process, I will continue to advocate for our libraries to be fully funded to ensure they are able to provide our communities with the necessary service our constituents deserve. I encourage all my colleagues to support this resolution and continue advocate for your local libraries. And happy National Library Week. I vote aye. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Murray on the resolution.
President, I'd like to thank Senator Chu for bringing this resolution forward. As she stated, libraries are so much more than buildings with books. They are truly a community resource, a community hub, a place for everyone to come together, join together. In fact, all of the libraries across the state have joined together to do a social media campaign called How Libraries Have Changed My Life. And you should take a minute to listen to some of these stories. Some of them are absolutely incredible, whether it's through their maker labs, where some folks have learned how to create certain things and actually turn that into a business, or whether it's some of the services or programs that the libraries provide. We truly do change lives through our libraries. In fact, this past weekend, I was in two of the libraries in my district, the Bayport Blue Point Library and the Patchogue Medford Library, as I teamed up with local legislators and the Sheriff's Department for Shed the Meds campaign to get medicine, old, unused, expired medicine out of the medicine cabinets, out of circulation, and get those incinerated to, again, help fight the opioid epidemic we're having here. So in so many ways, the libraries are there for us. So I'll add, as Senator Chu said, when we get down to the final negotiations on the budget, I hope we will remember how important our libraries are and make sure they are fully funded. I vote aye on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Helming on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of this resolution and in support of our amazing libraries. I also want to thank our librarians and their associates, especially those in the 54th Senate District in Wayne, Ontario, Livingston, and Monroe counties. Libraries provide so many, countless opportunities for all people. They improve the lives of so many New Yorkers. And I'm hopeful, as already has been said, as we work towards the final budget, that we extend funding. We expand funding for library construction aid, for library operating aid, and for library materials aids. Thank you, Madam President. Proud to support this resolution and our libraries.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Hoylman Siegel on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to thank Senator Chu for this resolution and just point out the dire straits that many of our libraries, both in New York and across the country, are in. From book bannings to budget cuts, libraries and reading are in danger. This year, the City of New York has already axed Sunday library days in New York. No libraries are open on Sunday. Now there's a threat to close those libraries for an additional day on Saturday. That's going to have enormous consequences for members of our various communities. So I hope as we study and fight for budget allocation, we will take to heart Senator Chu's words and support our libraries. Thank you. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Rollison on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Chu for the resolution. And, I will fully admit that I was not the best student growing up. And just talking to Senator Mayer about that, I've spent more time now in libraries throughout the district than I probably spent in my career, especially in high school. And we hold our mobile office hours throughout the 3 counties in libraries. And I've really gotten to see firsthand what they do, and obviously the other members have spoken about what they do for communities. You know, when I was growing up, the library was about books. And there was at some point in time, libraries became about community, about people. And I've seen it firsthand. And they hold such a critical place in so many communities throughout this state that I have a great appreciation for libraries, and I will be the first one to admit I probably missed the boat back in the day, but I am certainly not missing it now, and I proudly vote aye. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. The resolution was adopted on January 30th. Senator Gineris.
Now let's take up previously adopted Resolution 2058 by Senator Scarcella-Spanton. Read its title and recognize Senator Scarcella-Spanton.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 2058 by Senator Scarcella-Spanton, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim April 2024 as the month of the military child in the city of New York.
Senator Scarcella-Spanton on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to all of my colleagues for helping to memorialize this April as the month of the military child in the state of New York. Our military families and their children make countless sacrifices to serve our nation and keep us safe. And it is so important that we take the time to acknowledge their contributions to our country. Military children face many unique challenges. Whether they are navigating frequent moves or the deployment of a parent, they often take on the stress of having a parent in harm's way at a very young age. There are more than 1.6 million military children in our country, and they move on average every 2 to 3 years. As the mother of 2 military children, I know firsthand that this is a life filled with constant change. Our daughter Emily was just 10 days old when her dad deployed to Afghanistan for the 2nd time. Dandelions act as the symbol for military children because they put down roots almost anywhere and are impossible to destroy, which is very emblematic of both Emily and Jack, my 2 military kids. I am so proud to be an advocate for my children and all the other military children in New York State to help honor their courage, strength, and sacrifice. On behalf of my family and the millions of American Armed Force families around the world, I am honored to pass this resolution today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Ashby on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Scarcella-Spanton for bringing this resolution to the floor and for her contributions outside of this chamber as a spouse of a combat veteran and a mother of two military children. I think it's important for us to remember that some of the roles that the military children take on while their parent is deployed continue throughout their life. It's not something that occurs necessarily for a short period of time, and then when they come back, the roles change. The dynamics are constantly in flux, and it's something that they have to deal with and live with for the duration of their life, along with their parents. Sometimes when both of them serve, they have to take on these roles and demonstrate a resilience that I don't think we see often anymore. And it's inspiring. I know many people in this room may have fallen into this category over the course of their life, having parents who've served. And so it's an honor to be with you all today to celebrate the month of the military child. Again, I want to thank Senator Scarcella-Spanton for her commitment in the committee and outside of it as well. Proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The resolution was adopted on April 3rd. Senator Gineris.
Madam President, at the request of the sponsors of the 2 resolutions we took up, they are open for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator Gineris.
I want to remind my colleagues that there will be a meeting of the Transportation Committee in room 708 of the LOB immediately following session. And with that, is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
Move to adjourn until tomorrow, Tuesday, April 9th at 11 a.m.
There will be an immediate meeting of the Transportation Committee in room 708 in the LOB immediately following session. On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, April 9th at 11 a.m.